What is going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 34 of the It's Roaming podcast. I mean, dang,
Sorry that
stuff.
I'm late on this. I was too into video games and lost track of time, so sorry about that.
but uh, but yeah, before we get into it, if you guys are new, make sure you hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. You should check out everything linked down below as well. So I mean, I did, obviously us a favor and did uh recorded NXT and Raw for our recaps. So actually, bear with me. I have a notebook written full of crap, basically.
Me too,
Nope.
brother. Me too.
All right. So for the SmackDown for Friday the 6th. So we started off with the Bloodline promo segment, and all that kind of stuff. Just doing their thing, open up the show, and then KO comes in and just becomes that same pain and the thorn in the side
And
of the
now
bloodline.
here's where you just brushed over with this. In that promo, you have Roman Reigns turn to Sammy, and he asks him, "Do you want to be me?"
Yeah,
And then
that
he
was
starts, and then he started yelling at Sammy. I'm like, "Oh, they're planting the seeds. Seeds have been
yeah,
planted."
absolutely. It's
So,
just
so
I'm thinking
yeah.
to myself like, yo,
Goes, "You want to be me? You want to be?" I'm like, "Oh my god, dude, calm down."
that's like I mean but I mean this is probably it's storytelling at its finest.
Yeah.
I think at the Royal Rumble, we all know that Kevin Owens is not going to take the belt off of Roman. I think we all know that. That's kind of given.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean with Royal Rumble, right? Holy crap! Um, about like what about less than more than 2 weeks away, which is kind of crazy. Just how fast this month is going, it's kind of flying by. Um, so the next match we had on the card, I think was actually pretty decent. I would say for Friday Night SmackDown was Kofi Kingston's take on Santos Escobar. Obviously,
Solid match.
Santos gets the win. I mean, that's to be expected. I think Kofi. I mean, I'm really digging what LDF is kind of giving at this point. But yeah, I mean, it was a solid match, and then we get a cut to pretty much LA Knight, just kind of him just talking, hit just kind of just do what he does best, to just just delivering his a good backstage promo segment with Raw. Who's the backstage interviewer for SmackDown?
Da, 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 da.
What's because
Who's the
Byron
one
is with
person?
Raw.
Oh, that's Kayla Braxton.
Yeah, Caleb Braxton. Thank you. But I think it also said, like kind of mentioned where just kind of just he's just like he's looking forward to that pitch black match with Bray.
Right.
And I think the one match I think me and Ty want to skip over is the mixed tag team match with Karrion Kross and Scarlett taking on Madcap Moss and Emma.
That
Said,
match. That match. I looked away for like 2 seconds, and then the next minute was over.
yeah, it was just not great, I would say. But and then Charlotte Flair delivers her promo. And we'll get to Charlotte Flair talk about more of that because there's kind of mixed feelings with her at the same time, and sometimes, and I think some for good reason. So we'll get more into that. And then Sonya Deville comes out, interrupts her promo. It is kind of weird though. I will admit, seeing Charlotte as a babyface, it's just doesn't sit right with me. And then we get an impromptu women's title match. Really, it's nothing special. It's pretty much a squash match. I mean, it's really kind of nothing really to go off on. Um, and then we get to Ricochet and Top Dollar for the Royal Rumble qualifying match. Obviously, Ricochet picks up the win over Top Dollar, and obviously, I think me and Tyler could care less about the Hit
Heel turn
Row heel
after.
turn
Yeah, I care
afterwards.
less. I'm like, that's not gonna help none because he
It
sucks.
really isn't. It and we always said, without Shane Strickland, that group is just pretty much dead on arrival, basically. But
Yeah.
that's besides the point. And then we ended off with the Usos versus taking on Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. I thought actually this was a really good match in its entirety. Um, Obviously we know
This
the Usos
this
pick.
kind of carried SmackDown. This
Yeah,
match.
it's this entire card wasn't. Well, let's be real. It's not. Hasn't SmackDown that week has not been great. For lack of a better term. Um, but what's good? What's good, Daniel? What's good further? As well. And then we get to Monday Night Raw. Cool. Why do I even sit through? Thank God I recorded that. So obviously Kevin Owens starts off the show with his promo, kind of just I think still kind of carrying his thing, going into his match at the Royal Rumble, and then I think before he gets a word out, and then JBL comes out of nowhere, and then kind of talking all this crap and whatnot, berating the Birmingham crowd, typical heel fashion. After that, he kind of brings up Baron Corbin and yada yada yada. Because let's be real, no, I could care less with JBL and Baron Corbin at this point. I could
Yeah.
care less. Um, but that leads us to a impromptu match with Corbin and Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens picks up the win. And yeah, that's just the end of it. And then Alexa Bliss comes out with a promo second. It's kind of I'm not saying it's very interesting, but it's kind of intriguing what she said. After she went all ballistic on Bianca last week, and it's like I didn't know how to think about that. So, Tyler, let me get your thoughts on that.
She's influenced by Uncle Howdy. That's the thing. And she's trying to deny that she's influenced by Howdy.
Yeah, it's just
And I really like it. I really like the storyline.
I agree. And then after that, we get the one match. Oh God, I did not care for this match at all. Technically, there's two matches. Not just as much match in particular. We got Ian taking on Bailey. Bailey takes up the win. Like I said, I could care less. Could care less. So that's not a good. So far, not a good start to roll from the ninth. And then Candice LeRae has to say a few words backstage, and I could care less about her. Don't take that out of context because it's just like from what I'm saying that Candice LeRae cannot get over. And
No,
then
she can't get over it worth a damn. Like you've seen it in her matches, she can
like
barely
it
get
puts me to
over.
sleep.
Yeah.
Or as Stone Cold says, it's like show some emotion,
Boring.
show some emotion, or something like that. God, but that's kind of what this backstage segment reminds me of. And then Rhea Ripley comes out, and stuff like that, and kind of talking her shit basically. And that leads up to their match later in the night. And then Austin Theory cuts his promo. Let's be real, I think this is probably the best work that we've both seen Austin Theory look in terms of just character work. I think he looked really, really good with the mic in his hands. Let's be real. I think when it comes to holding that United States title, I mean, I'm really, really digging this continuation of his character work, and then I think after that, Seth Rollins comes out at the same time. Let's be real, like it's still crazy just how over that visionary character truly is.
Yeah, he got it. Like it's meteoric at this point. Like they're singing the theme song every week. It's like it's nuts.
Yeah, and it's basically and Seth pretty much goes on to say, his knee's going to be even though right now at the time this week his knee was not 100%. Because according to last week, he did kind of I think either sprained his knee or something like that, and he said it like he looked Theory straight in the eyes and said, "Yo, come Royal Rumble, my knee will be 100%."
Yeah, I
So
like how he faked it to come out, and then he started air guitaring with the tank crutch.
I mean, you gotta love Seth Rollins, man. Seth
Yeah,
Rollins, it's like if you somehow hate Seth Rollins, what the hell is wrong with you?
I don't know,
You
man.
know, But and like I said, mention what I said about Candice LeRae. That leads up to a match with Rhea. Typical squash match. Rhea does her thing. Easy 1, 2, 3. Like I said, another match I could care less for. And then we get to the next match on the card. I think that's another match we really do not care for. But before we lead up to Ziggler and Sokoa, the Usos have been kind of, storyline wise, were kind of causing a lot of problems. And obviously, Adam Pearce decided to borrow from the building. No matter how much you just try to do, there's no way you can stop the Usos. That's just how it is. Um, and then that leads up to Solo Sikoa and Dolph Ziggler, which obviously Sikoa wins just pure by pure domination, and just move on with that. And the next segment, I actually want to kind of talk. I want to talk about really. Oh boy! For those who are not talking about the Miz TV segment with Dominic Mysterio, what in God's green earth?
What
Whoever the
on
writer
earth was
was,
that racist bullcrap they tried to pull?
exactly. It's like,
They
what are
really
you
made
trying to
Dominic.
pull?
They made it. They made Dominic, who's Mexican descent, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna dress you up as a Mexican gang member. What?
And the fact that it says, "Oh, I know how to feel like Martha Stewart feels,"
That part funny. That
I
part was
just
funny.
faced my.
I completely cracked up when he said that. I know
I
how Martha Stewart feels now. Like, oh
was like, "Wow!" Like,
that was a
and I think
big.
in the Miz, and I think what else did he say? Oh, that's right. I think he said, I didn't want to grab my balls like your wife does. Like, oh, I lost it. I was like, dang. Like, really? Or he says, really? We're going back to that again? It's like, hey, first of all, Miz, you're the one who started that thing. So I thought it was actually a really decent, a really good segment. But
No, I think
really
AJ
moving.
Styles was the one that started it
Oh
because
yeah, that's right.
he basically said you have no balls, and then Miz was like, I got balls, and then the Miz was like, or no, and then AJ was like, no,
What's
you
good,
got tiny
Avakazi?
ones, and then AJ was like, you got tiny ones. And they've been going with
But
that for like months.
but the last we had the tag team turmoil match. The team who, or basically, or in other words, pretty much a tag team gauntlet match, whatever you want to call it. The Judgment Day will face with the Street Profits and a couple other teams. Um, with Alpha Academy. Still, I can't take them I can't take Academy seriously. I just
They're
can't.
hilarious. What are you talking about? They're
It's
hilarious.
hard. It's hard to get into them. But
Dude, they're
that's
hilarious, man. Cheers, please.
that. But it's going through that and then I think after the or so no, wait a minute. I think when um what the hell Otis when Otis tried to do I guess like a Vader bomb of some sorts. Finn grabs Gable trying to for some protection. Unfortunately took a wrong blow to the ribs and unfortunately had to medically disqualify him. So and that puts Dominic in that predicament. Anyways, and however the Judgment Day just do what they do best. They picked up the win all over the teams, which honestly I do want to see this faction at least have some tag team gold with them. That's what I want to see. But
Me too.
but now for NXT, so like I said, I did Tyler a favor doing that. So obviously NXT, definitely Apagasi. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, you can come on in, brother. We've been wanting you on here, so you can come right on in.
But give me 1 second.
We can talk some wrestling and get it going.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. All right. Just bear with me, guys. I'm trying to get our buddy Avakazi on. So Avakazi, I did you just send you the link. Oh, okay, also.
Yeah,
I think according to
Who
from what I
do
saw in the
we
post,
think? Honestly, originally we thought Cody, but with Finn's back, highly doubt it's gonna be Cody.
absolutely. And with NXT, NXT has been very, you know, like we said, me and Tyler, we kind of in and out with NXT, so we haven't really been consistent with it. But like I said, I did Tyler a favor. So to start off, this also stems back from last week after with Tony D'Angelo and Dijak. I thought it was a great match in its entirety, which is hard hitting. And then Dijak picks up the win over Tony D'Angelo. I think that was a really solid match. At the same time, but that leads us to the next thing was the Creed brothers. I'm actually really kind of getting really behind them, but unfortunately they get attacked from behind by none other than Mr. Jobber himself. Oh, why? Why
It's
is he
Vince.
Jinder
It's
Mahal?
Vince. It's Vince. It's Vince McMahon.
By Jinder
If
Mahal
Jinder
and
would just stay
Songa.
away, dude, it's Vince. There's no way. There's no other explanation for it. Why is Jinder on TV? Period. He
And
sucks.
speaking of our special guest coming backstage, what's good?
It's good, brother.
What's going on, gang? As you can see, it's middle of the day for me over here. I understand what it's about 7 o'clock for you guys.
About
It's
eight, almost 8:30
Yeah,
over
it's
here.
almost 8:30.
What's good, gang?
Not much.
Not much. Right now, just kind of just doing a little bit of show recaps before we get into like the nitty gritty. We're just kind of going over NXT. Because we really didn't bother watching it. Well, we didn't bother watch it for one obvious reason. But like I said, we got to the Creed Bros getting attacked. By Jinder and Songo. Like I said, normally I really did not care for that. And then we get pretty deadly. Tyler knows how better than anybody, just how much I hate this tag team. It's just like this is pretty much Breezango 2.0, and they did have a tag team gauntlet match, and they decide like, oh, like the first team comes out was like the spoof of the Rockers, and they actually done pretty well. Some over two different good teams, Endris and Ofe and Malik Blade. But the last team that comes out, I completely forgot, was Gallus, Joe Coffey, and Wolfgang. They pick up the win, and they're going to be the number one contenders for the New Day's NXT Tag Team titles after coming off a suspension, which I completely forgot about them. And then obviously Triple H Stratton, like I said, I never really watched much of her. She cuts a promo basically, like she's pretty much the center of the world. That kind of BS.
Her voice makes me want to ram my head through a wall. She's so annoying.
God, I thought Jillian Hall was bad, but
dude, Jillian Hall was just bad at singing. Her singing was annoying.
But and then the next match we have Braun Breaker and Grayson Waller. Unfortunately, Braun Breaker gets the win via countout, and it was just a mess. The turnbuckle collapsed twice, and obviously that cut to backstage towards the end of the show. They're going to redo that match at Vengeance Day, Saturday, February 4th.
Yeah, I feel like the whole ring rope break was just to set up that pay-per-view. That's all it was.
Hey, just real quick, is it too windy on my end? It's not coming through bad on your end?
Nah, you're good, brother.
Okay. Yeah, for me personally, I don't watch a hell of a lot of NXT at this time, but I do watch bits and pieces. I am a fan of Braun Breaker. I like he's got the look. I like that when he cuts his promos, he's got a lot of his uncle, Scott Steiner, and his father's.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cadence, you know what I mean, with him. The way he talks, the way he points, the way he, just I see a lot of Scott in him, and it would be. I look forward to the day that he turns heel.
Yeah,
that would be very interesting. And obviously, Grayson Waller, it's just Grayson Waller to me and Tyler. We just basically what a thing. It's he just comes off as a complete douche, but we just love it, just how his character works, and also Pele Aussie as well. I don't know, just like Australian wrestlers are just so fun that just like either you love or you hate them. It depends on where you stand. I mean, like
those bloody Aussies, right?
yeah. But and this is the best part with Grayson Waller. The last couple of NXT, I mean, the fact he pulled a shoey though, I mean, I was all for that to end it. I think it was in NXT.
It was the end of Deadline when he won the Deadline match.
Yeah, and then after he stuns Braun Breaker, kind of basically do like a little statement. But and then we get to Roxanne Perez doing her. She does like a backstage segment. Basically, Mackenzie's asking like who she's rooting for in this 20 women battle royal. She said, like she really just shrugs it off like it's no big deal. She'll. I think she mentioned like she's because even though obviously Toxic Attraction is still coming after her. She said she don't mind taking on Indy Hartwell, which I actually would not been actually wouldn't mind that. And obviously we get to move on from that. Then the next match on the card, I've seen this match once before. Hank Walker taking on Charlie Dempsey. For those who don't know, Charlie Dempsey is William Regal's son, and it's crazy just spit the just how much Charlie Dempsey is just like his dad. So
How old is
Charlie
he?
Dempsey went somewhere mid-20s, probably
Okay.
a little bit younger.
Wow.
But
So he must be learning for a little while.
yeah. So I mean, he has shown a lot of training, just doing the old school style way.
Right.
The next match, God, I wish this match was not even on this card. Jinder Mahal taking on Julius Creed. Pretty much it was all Mahal for most of it, and Julius Creed, I'll give credit where credit is due, did his thing, tried to come on. But yeah. And then obviously Mahal wins, yada yada yada. And that takes us to the final match, the match of the night. You get the 20 women battle royal. Sol Ruka, me and Tyler have been very high on her. She pulled a Kofi Kingston. Like the crazy athleticism this woman shows is impressive. It's oof. And obviously Toxic. And this is the weird part too. Now it's going to be a triple threat match at Vengeance Day for the NXT Women's Championship. So it'll be Toxic Attraction versus pretty much Toxic Attraction taking on Roxanne Perez after I would say controversial finish, but a really weird finish where both Gigi and JC Jane both hit the floor. So I was like, man, this is getting like the Royal Rumble all over again with Cena and Batista. That kind of word just kind of gave me that idea. But I thought NXT was okay. Just there were some matches I really did not care for. But the last show recap we're going to be doing is AEW Dynamite this past yesterday.
Oh yeah.
And I gotta say, this
Dynamite was top notch, man. Top.
It was a good show.
Notch.
I mean, first of all, we start with John Moxley and Hangman Adam Page. Really good way to start off. I mean, very much just hard hitting, and then obviously Page gets the win. Now we see Moxley kind of feel like he's just kind of dazed in terms of just how, I guess it's just after getting his clock cleaned by Adam Page. And then
I heard it might be a way to write him off TV so he can have a break for a little while.
Yeah, because remember, Rob, he was supposed to have a break, but the CM Punk debacle happened.
Right. And then obviously we cut to a promo segment from none other than Adam Cole, which is great to see him back in the ring.
Good to see him.
Yo, that had me so scared. I'm thinking, oh man, this guy's retiring. Oh no, it's happening.
It kind of had that written on the wall, basically.
He was like, I got some bad news. I'm like, oh no.
It's not bad news.
I thought
me.
he would have been more emotional about it if he was retiring. Like he seemed pretty motivated with even when he was talking about some emotional stuff, like, and it was intense.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, I was like, the bad news isn't he's not going to be retiring. And sure enough, he said the bad news is it's bad for everyone else in the roster. So good to see.
And then I'm like, oh, thank God, I can breathe.
Yeah, I think most of us can. I think that's probably the best promo that I've seen Adam Cole cut. But then again, Adam Cole knows how to cut some great promos throughout his entire career.
How do you feel about him just all of a sudden becoming a babyface though? Because before he got hurt, yeah, he's a babyface. Adam Cole. How do you feel about that? Because before he left, he just turned heel on the Bucks.
Well, that would have been a program had he still got O'Reilly and Was the other guy Bobby Fish by his side?
Bobby Fish.
Bobby Fish. Yeah. He's no longer there, is he?
No.
No, and then Kyle O'Reilly still dealt with neck.
Kyle O'Reilly, I think he had to have spinal fusion or something.
He had neck surgery.
So that program is pretty much out the window. I mean, look, I think it works because there's a lot. There's a lot of support from it. He also has that sympathetic crowd support, and I would run with it if I was AEW. I mean, they do need a top baby face, like a true baby face, so to say, that can cut a promo, and I think he could be that guy. You know what I mean?
Okay,
absolutely. And we all, and at the end of the day, I think Adam Cole, it's one of the most over guys in the game in this business. No matter if he's done some great heel work, and the babyface run is going to be very interesting to watch. And that leads now to our next match. You got the Firm, Lee Moriarty, and Big Bill taking on Jungle Hook, basically. I thought that was actually a pretty decent match. Obviously, what led up to this the last couple of weeks. Knowing how Jungle Boy is, just over he is, and Hook's now starting to kind of get some, getting over as well at the same time. So we're seeing, just kind of what Hook brings to the table. Now, it's really, I always say, Hook, even though he may not be like an eye popping, but he can hang in there with the best of the best. And I mean, the best moment, him T-boning Big Bill out of the ring but then Jungle Hook gets the win. I don't know why they even called him that, but I'm not going to question it. But
yeah, I'm not a fan either.
Yeah, I'm just not a fan of the name, but I mean, if it works, it works. Then the next match we're going to get to was part of the what was it, like the gauntlet? I guess if Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson goes through the gauntlet, so he takes on Hanosuke Takeshita or and that. God damn it, MJF! It's hard to I was like, dang. And then before that match gets started, Hanosuke decides
Takeshita.
I was like, don't try to take one of your pants. It's like, oh boy, here we go. I thought it was a really good match between these two guys. Danielson does pick up the win over Hanosuke at the same time, and both show sign of respect for one another. And then it's going to be interesting. Friday on Rampage, we're going to see Darby Allin take on Juice Robinson for the TNT Championship after Robinson said, Darby Allin, do you want to have you say you're going to have an open challenge? Then I think basically he just accepted. So that's going to be interesting. Come Friday at Rampage. So I'm going to get you guys' thoughts on that. Juice Robinson and Darby Allin going at it.
I have some. I'll let you go first. I have some thoughts on Takeshita. What's his name?
Takeshita.
Takeshita. Yeah. I don't know. I'll shoot after you.
All right.
You go first.
I think the Darby and Juice match is going to be pretty good. Honestly, both guys can go, and I feel like it's going to be a really, really good match. Really solid. So yeah.
And you say he has some, and kind of get your thoughts on Konosuke Takeshita.
So from what I understand with Takeshita, he has done he's making a lot of noise in Japan, and now he's based over in the US. I think the other thing to take in consideration, and I think it's a good rub on him, is MJF actually coming out and cutting a promo on him. I mean, he's not just going to do that with any regular Joe just off the jump. I mean, he's just got here. MJF's already out here cutting a promo against him. I think that's actually a good rub on Takeshita, and him having the match with Danielson. I think it's very encouraging, and I see a lot in terms of his future. I guess it's just whether or not he'll be able to grasp the English language and be able to cut promos and that. Otherwise, I'll just have to put him with a manager. So yeah.
I would not mind, if he does struggle. I mean, I mean, we've seen it throughout wrestling histories, like guys who don't do well on the mic. We actually seen some great managers being the great mouthpieces. I mean, well, I mean, Paul Heyman's a perfect example in the business when it comes to that. Who's another one I'm thinking missing? Oh, MVP. Which I forgot to
Abrahantes with
mention.
AEW, he's good with the was it the Lucha Brothers?
Yeah, that's great too. So, and then the next match we had on the card was the tag team title match, or not that. I mean, the tag team match between with Tony Storm and Saraya taking on Jamie Hayter and Dr. Britt Baker DMD, which is interesting because I think me and Tyler kind of talked about this, and we after we saw from what happened last week, for what Saraya had to pick, who her tag team partners, Tony Storm, you could see how how pissed off Hikaru Shida was.
Yeah, so
And
she
I'm
should.
thinking myself, like, is there a potential? Is she really like teasing me? Could we see a heel Hikaru Shida at some point later down the road? But yeah, throughout the entire match, it was actually pretty good. And then Rebel tried to get involved and whatnot. Obviously, just how it is. And then Hikaru Shida comes out with a traditional kendo stick. Towards the end, she throws the kendo stick into the ring, and then unfortunately, Britt Baker gets a hang of it. Obviously, Hayter and Baker get the win via the distraction by Hikaru Shida with that kendo stick. And I'm thinking to myself, oh damn, she just messed up big time. So Tyler, let me get your thoughts on that really quick.
At first, before they pan to her, the camera pans to her looking like, oh no, I messed up. I'm thinking, oh, she turned heel. This is it. And then they turn to her and they're like, she has like this shock on her face and like, oh, I messed up. I feel like they're gonna slowly burn this heel turn. They're really slowly gonna burn this heel turn. And I feel
Yeah.
like it's a great move on AEW's part. Don't rush it. Get it going. Get a story built, and then turn her heel.
What about you, Afakazi?
I gotta admit, this is the point of AEW where I was actually up to the match between Britt Baker and what's her tag team partner again? The women's
Jimmy Hayter.
Yeah, Jamie Hayter. Yeah. But I did see that promo, but you were talking about it before between Saraya and Tony Storm and that what's that Japanese chick's name?
Hikaru Shida.
Hikaru Shida.
Sorry, I'm still. I've been watching AEW for the last month and a half, so I'm still learning the names and that. But I did see that backstage skit, and yeah. Do you think that was intentional, the shade that was thrown, and the way that she kind of reacted to it, or do you think that was kind of organic?
That's a good question. Now that I think about it, I have a feeling like I don't think it was organic, but I feel like I think at some point, I mean, especially like Hikaru Shida as a babyface. At some point, I think at some point we knew her babyface runs was kind of getting a little bit stale over time. So I think this was kind of like, in the words, planting the seeds to could be a potential heel turn down the road. As Tyler said, you just got to you got to keep letting this build up because this is going to be stemming off of that, and and just see what happens. But and then
I don't know. Like, I mean, for me, I don't know. It's like something was telling me that wasn't intentional. You know what I mean? Like Saraya has
that's kind of where
propensity to just say things that kind of are unintentionally rubbing people the wrong way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But
I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if it was a foot and mouth moment where she said something that wasn't supposed to shade her, but like it was just that. You know what I mean? Like to not even look at her and call Toni Storm the best wrestler in the world, and it's like she's sitting there like, what? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like but I can agree with that. I think we can agree with that. Then we get to the next promo segment with the Jericho Appreciation Society. It's oh boy, how do I feel with them? But they were like talking some few things. Kind of going back, after Ricky starts through a table, and stuff like that. and then Ricky Starks comes out. Obviously, he's still having still kind of deal with some of the problems that he has with the JAS. And then obviously we get some jazz little chants going. It's just like, what else are we gonna? What other funny stuff are we gonna hear from Ricky Starks? And then here comes Acton Andretti. Now, Acton Andretti is a very interesting talent, though, that I'm starting to really kind of get behind a little bit. Actually, I thought he did pretty well in the mic too. If I'm going to be completely honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, shades of
And
the
the
1, 2,
fact
3
that-
kid, right? With
yeah,
Andretti.
I just like and the fact I think he made a comment to like Tay or like Sammy Guevara to say you need to keep your oh that's right, that is right. Like he said, you better keep your hand or what did he exactly? I forgot what he exactly said. Basically say like your wife can't keep her hands off him. It's like, oh boy, do you really want to piss off Steve? That's
And then he went and said, "Oh yeah, her head was between my legs."
yeah, that's it, Sammy. Oh,
Hey guys,
and
on that note,
unfortunately,
I get to bounce. So thanks for having me on. We'll
Hey,
catch
not
up
a problem,
with you guys
man.
another time. But take care, man, and yeah, thanks for having me again. Just before I
Hey.
go, I did get this shirt just today, so it kind of was fitting that I
Sick.
came on your
Hey,
podcast.
good shit, good shit.
Yeah, pack for life. All right, take care, guys. Peace.
You too, man.
Peace.
But yeah, so that is Afakazi Raider. So a shout out to him coming on. Yeah, I thought this, even though I know some people had their mixed feelings on that promo segment between the JAS with Ricky Starks and Axton Drake, I thought actually it was pretty decent for what it was. But I mean, it was just kind of hilarious. It was just a hilarious segment, bridge segment too. What I think people can make the argument from could be match of the to start off for like could be looking at match of the year type of candidate. That triangle versus the elite and the ladder match for the trios championships. And I gotta say, man,
There was
I
no
don't even know
breaks
where
in
to
between this match, man. There was just action on action on action on action.
yeah, it's
No
just
breaks.
like
I was on the stream with Jeff and Earl and Mitch. And we all couldn't even call the match.
it was just so good. But
It was fast
and
paced. You couldn't. If you, it's one of those moments where it's like blink and you miss it.
yeah, and we seen Pac use the ball peen hammer almost, and to see a package pile driver on the setup ladder. It's like, oh god, it was just like, but yeah, I thought it was a good match. The elite pick up the win, and also are the new trios champions. And at some point, man, you got to feel how so, I don't think you're going to be 100% going to the next week after what we just saw.
Nah, they're gonna be
But,
banner stuff next week for sure.
oh yeah, but I think so. That was Dynamite in a nutshell. But now time to get to the nitty gritty of this show, because I mean it's going to be very fun. Kind of just kind of talk about some things, some some other stuff. But what's good, LT? What is good? Shout out to Raphael that's in the chat though. Shout out to everybody though. The first thing, and it really, I think this has kind of died down a little bit, was Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné's in New Japan Pro Wrestling quote unquote botch debut. To be honest, when I saw this, I said, yeah, there was a little bit. I don't know where. I don't know. Like it was hard to kind of to say, was it really what did they really? And I was going to mention too, that
I looked at the botch. I looked at the botch DDT. I looked at it, right? That was more on Kyrie than it was on Mercedes.
Yeah,
Because it looked like Kyrie bailed on the move way too early. She should have, jumped or she should have just did what she was supposed to do and took the DDT. But the problem was she bailed too early. She fell too early.
Yeah, it was just in good timing. And when I heard Mercedes Moné kind of speak, like she kind of looked like she was kind of like slowing her words a little bit, I don't know if you ever picked up on that.
No, she's always talk like this and like that because she's trying to talk with like some it's kind of like forced sexiness in a sense. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
Because she tried to talk to her
It,
like some like really slow and like she tries
it
to
just
make
I don't know. It
herself.
just
She basically tries to make herself sound sexy when she talks. It's
but
weird.
it's weird. But I don't know if I don't think it works for me.
It
But
doesn't.
um. But I mean, look, happy for her that she's finally actually can do what she wants to do.
I don't
So
believe the. I don't believe those rumors. I don't believe any rumors right now with that company.
I mean, there's been some reports that they've been in the quote. Well, we'll talk actually on then speaking of that, Tony and Shaq Khan were in the quote unquote pool of potential WWE buyers, which to me sounds like a load of crap. I really don't think Vince would do something like that. In terms of try to sell to the competition, it for me just doesn't make sense. Like I said, it's a load of crap. So I mean, we'll get the load of crap out of the way first. I think we can all, like I said, we can all agree it's just not the right. It's not like not that what Vince McMahon would do, and it's just and well, man, we got a lot to talk about with Vince because good lordy, you know, um, one in particular, we did see one of the minor stockholders did file a lawsuit against him for trying for now don't take this out of context because me and Tyler we don't know anything about trading stocks or whatever for like litigation stuff try to force his way back in, which I think that the stockholders knew that was going to happen at if he did decide to come back, which unfortunately has happened. And who's to say there's going to be more lawsuits coming out against him? And at some point, we see the FTC are getting involved in it. Who knows who else is of higher authority can try to figure out to either try to stop him, but I don't think it's going to. I think this is going to backfire badly. So let me get your thoughts on that.
This is going to be just like every other case with Vince. He's going to pay him off. He's back with the company. He's going to be back in creative, and W's going to fall.
And it's just like it's going to get to the point where it's just like when's enough enough? And the fact that and I will say, thank God those Saudi reports were fake. So, holy crap. Um, well, we don't want to get too much into that because we actually know where we stand on that. Um, but outside of that, when before Vince McMahon coming back, don't you think it was such a coincidence that Stephanie McMahon resigned as the chairwoman as soon as Vince came back? I thought there was some little bit of a coincidence coming on, but I could be reading that wrong.
Here's what I thought. Vince forced her out. He forced her out. Just so we can take that chair again and he can run the company. No ifs, ands, or buts. People can say, oh, she left because of Saudi. No, that's fake now. But yeah, he only fired her because so she can go back to the company.
Yeah, it's. I think we actually talked about this a couple times too, throughout our different episodes. That at some point we're going to see at some point the downfall of this company. Now, yes, at the time we looked, I know at the time we says, yeah, I mean, which is never going to happen, but it's kind of come full circle that I think Vince is trying to kill the company, in terms of trying to. I don't know, like it's really hard to describe. It's just how everything has going on so far with the WWE and stuff like that, and seeing kind of talent really speaking out. And there's been a lot of backstage chatter, not just among the WWE, even on NXT, on the in NXT, at
I'll be
the
back,
same
brother.
time. All right, but but yeah, it's just one of those things. It's gonna get to the point where like if Vince is gonna really gonna kill this company, you know, it's not gonna be a good look. And at some point, Vince is gonna have to realize the dude just has been very out of touch the last, well, let's just be real, since after the 90s. It's just like he's been very so out of touch in terms of creative booking. It just, and the fact that, oh, you want to have, and know the fact that, their media rights could be up very soon. And the fact he doesn't want to, the fact that he wants to come back and try to, quote unquote, just say, save the media rights, which To be quite honest, I feel like I said it's been a kind of a load of crap in terms of just like I said, it just wasn't great. Um, but I don't know. But before we go any further, but yeah, if you guys are new to the channel, welcome everybody. Make sure you hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. Yeah, make sure to check everything linked down below. If you guys want to check out check out our sponsor from SeatGeek. Yeah, so here we go. Have you thought about saving money on tickets, whether it's sporting events, concerts, wrestling events, etc.? Use my promo code Philly Sports at checkout to save $20 off your order. That is PHILLYSPORTS Philly Sports to save $20 off. Absolutely. So you want to check out SeatGeek, check out SeatGeek.com. Just if you want to check out, wrestling tickets, sporting event, get any other tickets to concerts, sporting events, wrestling events. Make sure you use our promo code Philly Sports. That's all capitals PHILLYSPORTS to save $20 off because these fees nowadays with the tickets and stuff like that, it's kind of ridiculous. But and check out the merch options down below as well if you guys want to help support the channel, and also if you want to be part of the join the squad as well. Check out the membership program is linked down below and in the pinned comment as well. But yeah, it's just been one hell of a obviously the last week and a half, I would say, in the wrestling world. Maybe not even, maybe probably less than that if you really think about it. Because we have a lot of some other stuff we have to talk about. Like I said, we kind of think about we don't, that depends on who's asking or who or what Vince wants. Because if Vince decides to sell, at some point he still wants to keep being the head honcho. Which at some point someone's going to have to. At some point, someone's going to have to take that position away from him because if you're going to say sell to the right bidder, for whatever reason, to me, it's just at some point, like no one wants to see Vince just running the company anymore because the fact that he's already signed into let's be real, basically blood money with the Saudis. We don't want to get really too much into that for obvious reasons. Yeah, that's the crazy part too. Like we can't see that, but at some point, we want all McMahon just to go away forever. That's just how all of us we feel, personally. Because I mean, if you're gonna like you had a lot of good things going for you, and then Vince McMahon says, the yeah, and that's kind of fake as well. Not just the Saudi reports, but also I've seen people say there's that China has bought it, but that shit's fake. That shit's fake. Just because Vince, it's just money. Vince is just too money hungry. Let's just see it for what it is. Vince is too money hungry, and it's really rubbing everybody off the wrong way. Not just us fans, but even the personnel inside the company. And it's kind of ironic that both the investigators who investigated the misconduct allegations against him somehow resigned, and that's another coincidence in itself. That's for me was a head scratcher. I'm thinking to myself like, what the heck is going on back there? But what's good, Butterfly? What is good? What is good? Shout out to everybody though, as well. And to be quite frankly though, it's just one of those things I just don't see. I appreciate that, but like I said, I'm not a facial hair kind of person, but it is what it is. But like I said, man, it's just one of those things. It's hard to imagine, as Jose stated before. Yeah, it's hard to imagine WWE owned by other people that's not McMahon, but and for good reason. As someone, because we see talent that just do not give it two flying rear ends for Vince McMahon and how everything he has going on. But what's good, Steve? What is good? At the same time, so shout out to everybody coming through. But so far, kind of give a bit of a recap. We talked about all the shows, the annual show recap for this, for Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and Dynamite. Then we talked about Sasha Banks' quote unquote New Japan botch debut. Obviously, like we said earlier, for those who are just coming in, Kyrie kind of just with the wrong timing on for Mercedes Moné at the on during her Wrestle Kingdom 17 appearance. Um, we also talked about how could the coincidence that Stephanie McMahon resigns from the company, that and just how everything is going on surrounding this company at the same time. But like I said, we greatly appreciate everybody coming in as well to really show support for this show, which we'll do every single Thursday at 6 o'clock Eastern time. Hopefully, my body doesn't want to forget. I think it's the only time we've forgotten. So yeah, so it's kind of a bit of a late episode, but we got some other stuff to talk about. Like I said, it's just wrestling nowadays. It's kind of like flips upside down, and just in terms of just how everything is going on, just how management's just not great, especially if you're a WWE fan at that same point. But then again, these diehard WWE fans, what do they know? They'll still support it no matter what. Like women's wrestling is pretty much dead over in WWE. I am. I'm at work, so absolutely, absolutely butterfly. Yeah, so there's going to be times where you're going to see not the typical setup like I normally would have, but yeah. So the next thing, um, another thing we kind of a bit of a recap. We also talked about Tony and Shao Kahn being the pool of buyers, but which is for me, like I said, it's a load of crap, which I don't see that happening. But there's also been, I would say, another thing that's been kind of interesting that I think really never talking about. This was from the 5 days ago, which this kind of caught my eye a little bit. WWE has quote unquote reportedly shown interest in New Japan Pro Wrestling's Tama Tonga.
And if you guys don't remember, back in I think 2010 or 2009, he was in WWE initially as Camacho. Remember the guy on the bike?
Oh yeah. That was not great.
That was
they also had
terrible.
I think also had a guy who Sin Cara at the time, or whoever played Sin Cara as
that was Hunico. That was Hunico. Hunico and Camacho.
Who would have thought at the same time? But yeah. So, and we also well, I never really we haven't talked.
Honestly, I would not be mad. I would not be opposed because like Triple H, The Rock is more fan oriented. Case in point, his movies. Case in point, the XFL buy. Case in point,
and
him in wrestling.
But and this is coming from and obviously the article is going to say this is from WrestlingHeadlines.com, but it says 405 plus life, new IWGP never overweight champion Tama Tonga has been on WWE's radar for quite some time after they made him an offer 7 years ago, but he turned that down to compete with his brother Tango Loa.
That's because the whole Camacho thing. Of course, he wasn't going to resign.
And then obviously the report mentions that WWE is interested in him again, which was circling backstage after the Wrestle Kingdom 17. And obviously, this also starts mentioning, some of the people that has been associated with Tama Tonga, with Machine Gun, Carl Anderson, part of the Bullet Club faction with Balor, Styles, Adam Cole, Kenny Omega, and more. But this also artist says there's no indication that Tonga himself is interested in signing WWE at this time. So right now that's kind of up in the air. If I'm Tama Tonga, I would, knowing that Vince is back in charge, just stay with New Japan. I mean, just for the sake of it. Because I mean, we've seen how much over Tama Tonga is in Japan, especially part of the Bullet Club faction and the God. For crying out loud, if you're not watching him in Tagaloa as the God, y'all really missing out. Let's be real. But it's just like this last 28 to 40 hours, probably 72 hours has been
absolutely more than looking for. That shit crazy.
There it is. Both it's
That's what it
been
is.
both good and bad. No, the good part of it, we've seen Dynamite just have probably the best show that they put on for 2023, which we have talked about, but mostly it's been bad and for the wrong reasons. Um, but another former WWE star has actually commented on this issue, and that's Matt Hardy himself. And he said pretty much saying, Vince McMahon won't be able to control himself. He'll put his fingerprints on the product itself. And this is
Bull
coming from a guy
crap.
who's
Bull crap. Oh, I'm not gonna
and this is coming from
impede. I'm not gonna impede on the creative team. I'm not gonna impede on day to day. If you weren't gonna
that is
impede,
bullshit.
you would have stayed retired.
And I think and Hardy has a couple quotes from according to Fightful.com says, quote, I feel like even Vince is being sincere. He will be able to control himself like that. If he is back, he's gonna put his fingerprints on things. It's just who he
Exactly.
is. It's
When Matt Hardy is seeing past the bull crap, when your talent is seeing past the bull crap, when the fans are seeing past it,
absolutely.
come on.
And
You're gonna put
and,
your hands all over it. Quit
and
lying
he
to
also goes
yourself
to
and quit lying on us.
and he's saying, and Hardy goes on to say, quote, it's a slow process, but just knowing Vince, he's not my best friend, but I worked with him. I've been around him a lot. I mean, him and Jeff, and we'll talk about Jeff in just a second because
And just
I
like
think
and just like what fans are saying, and they've said it for years, he is not gonna fully retire. He's gonna come back. He's gonna die in that chair.
pretty much.
He is going
And
to run the company into the ground, whether the fans like it or not. And we don't like it.
but yeah, and then obviously, yeah, well, we kind of talked, about that. So it's just like we said, Matt Hardy, I think he's going to go down as one of the all-time greats in WWE history, along with him and Jeff, for obvious reasons. But I think he knows, like, yeah, I mean, yeah, I've been basically, in other words, he's saying, yeah, I've been around. The dude, I mean, he may not be the well small light, but yeah, it's just part of who he is. And as Tyler said, yeah, we can see past the bullshit. Like, it's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, and I love Matt being completely transparent about it. It's like, yeah, it's just who he is, and I mean, he sees it for what it is. But and speaking of being WWE getting sell, so obviously there's been articles saying, few articles kind of talked about WWE is looking to sell in mid 2023. I don't know, like I feel that's kind of
Honestly, I feel like the possible suitors that I see Disney, I see NBC, and I see that's about it. Dude, you're muted. Dude, you're muted.
like my mic was on, but all right, can you
Oh,
hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Yeah, sorry, because actually you hit my earbud, so it just automatically muted. So
Oh,
my apologies
that
for that.
sucks. No, you're good. It happens.
But I'm
But
trying to think, like, so my thing is like, I mean, yeah, I mean the Disney part, yes, I can understand the family friendly oriented stuff with that, and but I don't know, but I feel like NBC seems more realistic to
I mean,
sell.
yeah, I kind of see it too because you already have a business practice of having an archive on an app. What you're doing if you're gonna have Disney buy it, you're gonna force them to buy another app.
Yeah, I mean
And
we.
that's
So
and
I
that's
mean,
possibly gonna be ESPN Plus if Disney buys it. They're gonna move it from Peacock to Disney ESPN Plus.
but yeah, and there's a couple other ones. I know this is kind of little old news, but I want to kind of get our thoughts on it. We've been hearing like there's some rumors that Jeff Hardy, you know, and even and going back to what Matt said too, like it's like maybe wrestling's not in the cards for Jeff, and it's like, yeah, I could see that number one. I mean, look,
Obviously, the drinking and the drugs are from all the pain he's endured in wrestling and the mental
and
issues he's had. Honestly, I'm not gonna
I
put
wouldn't
it.
blame him.
I'm not gonna hate him for retiring. I'm
And
not.
plus, I mean, he's not getting any younger either.
He's not.
I mean,
He's like 40 something now. So it's like y- he's got to retire at some point. And honestly, if it's now, I won't be mad about it. if it helps him,
Jeff Hardy is 45.
yeah, if it helps him,
Holy crap!
he's pushing 50. So if it helps him get better and
And just have a better life. I
come
mean,
in,
like I said, we can't hate for that. I mean, look, Matt
yeah,
and Jeff, they have done so much for the last 20 something odd years, and it's just one of those things. It's like, yeah, I mean, we've seen it. Some of our best some of our favorite wrestlers. Shit, look at the Undertaker. I mean, wrestled for 30 years. We knew, and he knew his time was up. And he was pushing 60 before
yeah.
he
But then
hung up the
again, you
boots.
got a guy like Sting who's like 63 jumping off of stuff.
That oh, yeah, that's a whole different situation's entirety.
That man
Um,
is doing something if he's jumping off of stuff at 60
Speaking of
something.
Sting, but he has quote unquote plotted the end game out of his iconic career, so he's going to be another one that's going to go
But
out on his
here's
own terms.
but here's the thing, he's kind of edging it. Like he's doing an edge. He's gonna wrestle for a couple of years and then he's gonna retire on his own terms. That's what I feel he's
Yeah,
gonna do.
and I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that too.
I mean, and
Having a
Sting just
freak
has a really
accident end your career, that's worse off than just saying, you know what,
oh
I think
yeah,
time I'm gonna end my career on my terms. I feel like ending your career on your own terms is great. It's great.
it
You,
really
you, you
is.
wrote you
And
wrote
if
the
you look at the
ending.
resume,
Hold on. You wrote the ending to your story. Close the book.
absolutely, and the fact that you're passing on pretty much knowledge, and I thought him partnering with Darby Allin, I thought I was trying to say, I think Darby Allin could be the next guy to be what
Yeah.
Sting used to be.
And the thing is, he's picking up on what Sting used to do. The Sting mannerisms, the Sting uh mysteriousness, everything.
Yeah, and it's like and Sting has a resume to really, and at the end of the day, it's going to be a wrestling Hall of Famer. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
He's already a WWE Hall of Famer. So why not
Yeah,
just put him in as the Wrestling Hall of Fame?
that is true. I mean, because I mean, obviously, I get a chance. I mean, for those who kind of know me a little bit, I kind of know him in his early day. Well, not saying his early days, but towards let's be real, the death of WCW on 2001.
Oh,
But
the birth of the Crow gimmick that he has.
I remember. I think he debuted that in 1996.
Hmm.
Because in 1990, if you look at 1995, he was still doing with the bleach blonde flat top surfer gimmick. But at the time, it was still super over. But it's
Damien, that's not
1996.
Damien. That's not exactly true because fans who watch, they don't stop with the Twitter fingers.
Yeah, they just want to look for basic clout chasings, but basically what we're saying. Speaking of, like I said, speaking of the Charlotte, this is the last thing we're going to be talking about. Charlotte. Well, where do we want to begin? Me and Tara, we do have our mixed emotions with her, and sometimes obviously for good reasons. But there's been a rumor, I think very few, that she wants to break her father's leg. It's like, fuck, are we gonna are we gonna have to go through this bullshit again? Like, dang, like it's like enough. It's enough. Like, when's enough of her? Like but then again, though, I mean, it can't be worse than having Ronda Rousey as champion. But out of the end, that's two bad options to have as a champion, in my honest opinion. But I don't know.
That's all we can say about that is it's gonna happen. There's nothing we can do, and yeah.
It is what it is. But yeah, so that is going to conclude episode 34 of the It's Rolling podcast. Yes, like I said, we do apologize. Well, apologies on this nincompoop over here. Um, I'm sorry, but yeah, it's not that typical episodes we normally. Well, actually, I'm kind of wrong in terms of the time frame, but bear with us. Um, but yeah, it's just one of those things. I mean, look, what are we gonna do? Like, obviously, like I said, I know you see.
Oh yeah, I just heard about that.
Yeah,
Yeah, rest in peace to her, man.
but yeah, it's just yeah. So wrestling. So like I said, going forward, either the next 24, 48, or how many ever days, the wrestling world might change. However, probably if it's all said and done, if I'd be completely honest. And you know, it's gonna it's sometimes it's gonna suck for one thing, but well, I don't know. But outside of that, like I said, we appreciate everyone that has came through today or tonight. So, like I said, I know it's not one of our. I mean, it's probably the best one of our other good episodes that we've done. In terms of just getting you guys what you need to hear. Doing our show recaps and whatnot. But if you guys are new, make sure you hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you check everything that's down below and check out the membership program to be part of the squad. Check out the SeatGeek promo as well. We always put that in the description for those who want to score some tickets, because let's be real, tickets are expensive nowadays. So I highly recommend you guys are and for those who are going to any like especially with sporting events, especially the NFL football postseason, make sure you check the link check out the promo code down below, save $20 off. Because oof, good lord, right? Yeah, tickets. Yep. But outside of that, we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Peace.